Okay, so now we're recording, and it looks like Lee may be here.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're just waiting for Bill to come back. He had a phone call. Lee, how are you?
Okay. Good. How's it going tonight?
Good, good, Lee.
And I'm doing okay.
A little sore.
A little sore. Tylenol seems to work pretty well, and if I can, Chris is keeps getting mad at me because I keep reaching and lifting, and if I'm not good, I'm gonna start bleeding and it won't heal.
Well, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So that spot has got a lot of twisting and pulling when you move around.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the incision is vertical. So
Okay.
so anyway, without Bill, we can't. Is Lynn coming tonight?
I haven't heard from her. I sent her the link, but she did not say she would or wouldn't be here, so.
Okay. I hate to go through stuff without Bill.
Well, I mean,
Well, what we can do, we can do some easy stuff. We can
Okay.
start off with Colleen's timesheets. She's got two of them. I've got one that's for September 7th and ends September 7th for 70 hours. Are you okay with that one, Lee?
oh yes, yes, that's
Colleen,
fine.
I
Thank
am too. So
Okay.
that's approved. Now I've got one for September 21st, also 70 hours. Are you okay with that, Lee?
you. Yes. Yep.
And I am too, Colleen. So
Okay,
that's approved.
yep.
The next one that we have is for the payments to the treasurer for this. Oh, it looks like it's two periods, Colleen, is that correct? So the 2 weekly sessions. So this is the date is September 25th.
Yeah.
And it's $3,470.
Yep.
That comes from $2,090 for Board of Health permits, $930 for Board of Health licenses, $450 for Board of Health fees, and that is the three categories that total up to the $3,470. Are you okay with that, Lee?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Colleen, I am also, so that's approved.
Okay,
The next one I have was for David Lavoy and Sons, but Colleen, he's not coming tonight.
well, no, this is actually another fellow that is getting a renewal.
Okay, it's not on my list, or this is,
David Lavoy, he's getting a
Also-
renewal.
okay, just a renewal.
Yes,
Uh,
this is a different fellow, yeah.
And so he's doing business, and Lee, are you okay with David Lavoy, son?
I can't make can't remember any work.
They're from
can't-
Ludlow, and I believe
Yep.
they had a couple licenses with Granby, but it was a while ago, so
Okay.
you may
So
not
we've
remember.
already
Yeah, I mean, I
been
can't
through the
remember. They've been in before, so they. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's more than fine, with me.
If we've gone through the review and given it to him, and this is a removal, I'm okay with this. Bill, are
Yeah,
you
that's-
okay with this too?
Which project, Dick?
This is David Lavoy, a renewal for septic installer.
Yeah, I don't know him. I can't opine. I know nothing of him.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
don't either, but,
I know Jerry Lavoie. Are you Jerry's son?
no, I
Is
don't think
Jerry's
he's here.
son?
He's not here, but
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who this person
He's
is.
from Ludlow.
I think
I don't know,
they're
but
up-
he's had installers here before.
But
Okay.
if he's been through our review and got permits, then I'm okay with it, so.
Yeah. There's a guy, Lavoie, doing a job on East Street. I see a sign on East Street. Might be the same project.
Oh.
Yes, that's what they're doing on East Street. Yep.
Okay, all right. That's the house that we approved a year or two ago. Okay, I remember that.
Okay. So we're approving that.
Mhm.
Let's go, I'm gonna move back onto our septic. We've got a bunch of septic things. First one is, on my list is the one for, it's either 7 or 9 North Street. I've got, one thing says 7, one says 9. I think it's 9 North Street, but it's the Brainerd property that I am in conflict with that. My sister-in-law is the executor of the estate, so I can't, I listed what the design is, and I had Colleen reach out and say to let people know that I can't comment on it at all. So it's up to
I get it.
Bill, you and Lee. Go ahead.
Neil, why don't you brief us on the design, Neil?
Okay, it's a raised system. It's a Elgin innovative system, gravity flow. The whole site is ledge. We dug through the whole backyard. I think the old septic system's pretty much sitting on ledge. So plumbing's all gonna be raised. Really, that's the only place on the site that we could actually get material, and actually we get enough material, so there's not a lot of options on this one.
And you got 4 feet of separation on this one?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, with the ledge, that's a concern with the ledge. If there wasn't ledge, that wouldn't be so.
Right, no, there's definitely ledge, so
Yeah, if there's rock on there and they got a well, okay. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, Lee.
No, I'm just looking at the calculations, and it obviously from what I'm reading, we have met the design criteria with the additional 110 designed for 440, so that's all fine. Plenty of room on well separation from the house and the neighbor's property. It's indicated that there's 160 feet in the northerly direction to the other neighbor's well. I can't see, it mentions the ballast. The buoyancy calculations are all here. Plumbing is going to be raised and relocated. Yeah, I can't see any reason not to go forward as presented.
Neil, effluent filter on this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
good.
I spec those on every system.
Okay. Yeah, again, it reduces the BOD and some of the organics getting into the
Yeah.
leach.
Yeah, and it's pretty inexpensive insurance, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, I guess, Lee, you okay with this one?
Absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I
So on
move,
that one, it's not for me to discuss, but that would be the French permit, Colleen, the build requirement. There's a plumbing permit requirement, and I did say that there's a PE stamp requirement, but that's on there now.
Mhm.
So
well, that's right. There's a retaining wall on this one, Neil, right?
Yeah, no, and I emailed, I think you actually received it also, Bill, a stamp from an.
Oh, yeah,
Pete.
you got Stoddard stamp it.
Yeah.
Here's the question. That wall is like really close to the property line. You better have a land surveyor or someone that knows what they're doing, so this thing doesn't end up on the neighbor's property.
Yeah,
That's what I would recommend.
okay, Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, the next one is also Neil Jackson at 31 Cold Hill Drive. That is it's a 3 bedroom, that's Marty Merrill's old house. It's a 3 bedroom house, a complete system. Fee is paid on that. It's based a cleared tiny lot. It's 1,600 square feet. It's very shallow. It's a wide, shallow lot. Slightly sloped down towards the rear, medium hill, 64 and 66 inch the water table. There's shallow though ledge with wetlands in the rear. The issues of the lot size, the neighboring well location, high water table, dense soil, very, very limited area for the SAS. The wetlands are back there. There's no room for trenches. And there's also the well separation, even with a new well, doesn't meet our 100-foot separation. The design is for a 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. It's an 18 by 29 foot bed with 4 lines, each with 7 Elgin B43 modules with the C33 fan. It's raised plumbing, replacing the building sewer. Fill is required. There's a concrete wall, but that also has a stamp now with a 40 mil high density polyethylene barrier on the west side. There's 470 gallons provided per day provided versus 440 required. The reserve area is not provided. It's got 4 feet water table separation. Ballast is required for the septic tank. Going to pump, crush, and fill the 2 existing septic tanks. Have to install a new well and abandon the old well. The new well is closer than 100 feet to the SAS. A siltation fence is employed. Well separation variance is being requested for the septic tank. The septic tank and SAS and other wells are more than 100 feet. The SAS, oh, and I'm sorry, that there's a separation, a well to SAS separation. This new well is going to be drilled 85 feet from the SAS. And Neil can't move further with the SAS from this well because he's going to encroach on the neighbor's well. So he's protected everybody else. It's just this one is at 85 feet. It's approximately 76 feet from the well to the new septic tank. And the SAS is approximately 70 feet from the wetlands. So this is a really difficult property. Discuss spread permit, fill requirement, plumbing permit required, P stamp required for the wall, which Neil has done, and the well separation and construction. So this is a lot of stuff. So, Bill and Lee, what are your thoughts?
So on this
Neil,
new
did I
well,
catch? Pardon? Go ahead, Lee.
no, I'm sorry. Is there any benefit from squeezing the well in more of a northeast corner of the property?
No, because I have there's a septic system right across the street, so I'm right at 100
Oh, okay,
from that
okay,
septic.
okay.
Yeah, across the
So
street.
this well gives us 100 to the neighbor.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got you. Okay. Yep, I get it. That's all there is to it then.
So we would have to give the well variance. In fact, as we go around there, we've got the septic variance to the well, and then the well, whichever one comes first. We either, if the well goes in first, then he doesn't need a variance. if the septic system goes in first, I guess our policy is that the well goes in first before we grant this permit.
Okay. Now, on the print, Neil, on the southern corner of the property, there's a note of the neighbor's well 100 feet from leach field. That's for the leach field that is proposed to install here.
Yeah.
So we can't cheat this leach field in a more southerly direction on this piece of property then, correct?
No, we're just at 100.
But
where it
it'll
sets.
squeeze the neighbor's well on this side as well.
Yeah,
So this is as good as it's gonna get.
yeah, it's a tough site for sure.
Okay. There's no issue with the return to grade on the west, side of this property, since it's not theirs.
And
There's
we're,
that fence back there.
we have a wall proposed right on the lot line.
Thank you. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking around here, and I guess, we have to be happy with what we have. Since everything is shoehorned in.
It's definitely better than it was.
Oh, for sure.
Better,
Yeah, it's
better
just
than it is, for sure.
better than it is. It protects the neighbors, so it's, yeah, it's snug.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
one-
we can anticipate a proposed well driller coming on site first, and then get that in and, run with the SAS installation later in life, or shortly thereafter.
Yep,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Colleen, as part of this approval that the well has to be installed before, and the old one abandoned before we grant this permit.
Okay.
Okay, and that would require bentonite. Is the existing well artesian, Neil?
no, it's a shallow, the existing is a shallow well.
All right, so that's just gonna be pulled out and left.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so no bentonite necessary on this. Okay.
Are you okay with this one?
Yeah, I'm good. Again, that's one of the smaller lots in town. Neil, just run it by conservation. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem, but due to the proximity, just run it by Conscom if you would, please.
okay, you want an RDA or just attend the meeting?
Just attend the meeting, I think.
Okay. When's the next meeting, Bill? Do you know offhand?
It's second Tuesday of October, whenever that is.
In
Okay.
fact, we've got to talk about that one. Colleen, we should be talking about
Yeah,
meetings. In fact, why don't we back off of these things for right now and do the meetings? The next meeting, Bill, is gonna put you in a conflict again. I think it's scheduled for what, the 8th of October,
8th.
Colleen?
yes.
Which is gonna put you.
Well, that's right. Yeah, the 1st of October is a Tuesday. You're right. So that's going to be problematic for me. So we're kind of in phase, if you will. It takes a few months to get out of phase. That's the problem.
Can we, on this one, Lee and Bill, do you want to do this for the 9th instead of the 8th? Or whatever the Wednesday is instead of the Tuesday?
This meeting is being recorded.
I'd be available.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, absolutely.
Okay, Colleen, so that's what we'll do for that one.
Okay, Wednesday,
that'll be
October
10/9.
9th.
Okay,
Yep.
Oh,
So that one is on the Wednesday. The
That-
next, I've got some issues that I'm gonna be gone from the. Colleen, what did I tell you that, I'm gonna find it in my book.
Well, I know the meetings that you'll miss.
Yeah, so I'm I'm leaving on Sunday, the 17th of November, and I don't come back until Wednesday night, the 4th of December. Then and we've got scheduled a meeting on Tuesday, so I'll be gone the Monday, the 18th. We've got scheduled the meeting on Tuesday, the 19th. And then the next meeting we've got scheduled is the 3rd of December, and I don't get home here until the nighttime of the 4th of December. So Howard, what do we want to do? And I'm going to be in St. Martin, and I can't do the meetings from there.
Yep, I got you.
So we could, and the Thanksgiving is the 28th. So we could, I guess if we wanted to, our options are to skip them, but that's a long time to be skipping meetings. That we could do a meeting if we wanted the Friday, the 15th, or the 14th of November, the Thursday. Whatever, give some suggestions, what we should do.
Well, so if we grab that Thursday, that's the latest into the month prior to your departure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, my schedule is not too exciting, so I can be available at that time. I'm not sure if Bill is available or not.
Bill, the 14th of November is a Thursday. Are you available?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's
Okay.
do that, the 14th. Then we could, there's not much happening typically around Thanksgiving. We could skip the December 3rd meeting if we wanted, and if it looked like there was a crunch for some reason, we could have Colleen schedule it for the following Monday or Tuesday if there was a crunch. But typically we don't have anything to do around Thanksgiving.
Historically, that's correct.
Bill, would you want to do that? You want to just skip the meeting of December 3rd?
That would be fine, Dick. Again, as long as
Okay.
we don't have too many people waiting for permits.
And if we do, then we'll just have Colleen end up, I will be back on Thursday. We can talk on Thursday, and she can schedule a meeting for early the next week.
Okay.
Sure.
So we'll
That's fine.
skip that one. And then the 14th, the one that's on the 19th moves to the 14th. Okay, so those are done.
Okay.
Now we go back into our other items.
Just a quick commentary, Dick. Muffy Bradford's here. And she's sporting an E-tube. She just got out of Tufts. She was at Tufts for 4 days. She's had a really rough week, this cat.
Yeah.
And this is the first time she's actually shown interest in participating in anything since she got out of the hospital. So
What did they do to her?
well, she's got kidney problems. She had a blood transfusion. They put in the esophageal tube, and
Oh.
she's on a bunch of meds. But she's doing okay. But they did magic at Tufts University, Dick.
Wow.
Wow.
They did magic over there.
hopefully they're doing that for
Anyway,
product.
I just want you to see the big muff.
Okay.
Oh, Dick, the other thing, and Bill and Lee, is that we have a meeting scheduled for November 5th, and that's the election.
Oh, yeah,
So-
Kathy Regan says we cannot have
She-
meetings on election day. We
She doesn't
cannot.
like that. No, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
because
we
you're
have
not
to
supposed
move-
to make decisions and stuff, whatever.
So
You
we
don't
have
have
to
to do
move that one too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so where are we gonna put that? You wanna do it on the,
You want to do a Wednesday, Dick? That would be fine with me.
Yeah, the 6th.
okay, so we
Dick, when
move
you gonna
that
be out
to-
of town? When you going south?
I am not leaving until the 17th. So we're meeting on the 14th anyway, so you're saying move it to the 6th. So it's either the 4th or the 6th, Monday the 4th or Wednesday the 6th.
Okay,
Which would you prefer? I don't care.
I don't care either.
Yeah, no difference. Oh, Colleen, what's good for you? None of the above.
Either one is fine. Either one is fine.
Let's
Well,
do it on
Monday,
Wednesday.
or, yeah, either way, a day forward, a day backwards, no outcome change.
Since we're moving it earlier on the following one, why don't we we'll move this one earlier too. Let's do it, the Board of Health meeting on the Monday then.
On
Okay.
Monday. Okay, the 4th. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I think,
Done.
I think Lynn might be here too, and we're probably past her time. anyway.
Yeah, I think that's Lynn's number. Yep.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah, you
here,
always
Lynn?
recognize my number. You always recognize my number. It's the boss number, right?
Yeah, it's got the 617. I
Yeah,
said, oh.
It
Yeah.
Lynn
sticks
might
out
be
a little
here.
bit, yeah.
We're all
Well, I don't have
messed
too much-
up.
It's okay. I don't have too much to report. I just wanted to touch base and tell you that I got a handful of the churches that I need to do still, and then I do need to do re-inspections, but other than that, everything's going okay.
Okay,
Good.
that's good.
Yeah, there's
That's
nothing
good.
really going on. Yeah. The South Street, the housing inspection I did, the tenant said they weren't done, but Colleen at the same day sent me an email saying that the landlord said that everything was done. So they're figuring that piece out. And when they figure it out, I'm going to go and do the re-inspection on that apartment. So, but other than that,
Okay.
everything's okay.
Okay.
Anything
let's
for
move
me?
back. We're so swamped, we skipped a week. We're messed up. So,
It's okay.
okay. You know what? I'm gonna suggest that Neil's got a lot of stuff here. And Alan is here, and Alan's appointment is, he's got other things to do that's gonna go on. Alan is actually first. Alan has got, let's get on to Alan and see if we can kind of get him out of here. So Alan has got one that's in lot 2. It's one of those plans on East Street, one of the plans lots, new construction, 3-bedroom house. Fee is paid, review is complete, mostly cleared, 1-acre lot, moderately sloped down towards the rear, the south, and to the right, to the west. They're fine sand and bony, waters are 20 inches. There's a drainage swale right at the back of the lot. The issues are the high water table and a slope. The design is for a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank without a filter. He's got 3 3-foot by 53 foot by 1 foot effective depth trenches with vents. They're terraced. Fill is required. He's got 445 gallons a day provided, 440 required. Reserve areas between and adjacent to the trenches, a 5-foot water table separation. Ballast where even though the water table is high, the tank is so so much out of the ground, it's not required. He does have a 40 mil polyethylene liner around the west edge of the SAS. He's using siltation fencing. And what Alan did do is he just, different than your drawings, he's raised the tank so that when the reserve goes in, the first reserve line will be actually to the east, not to the west of the system. The SAS and septic tank separation of the wetlands and wells more than 100 feet. Discussion of just the trench permit and fill requirements. What are your thoughts, Bill and Lee, on this one?
Al, this one is to the west of Morgan Street?
That is Morgan Street,
Or East
Oh,
Street?
Oh.
it's to the east of Morgan Street and it's to the south of East Street. So
Okay, okay.
across
So, all right,
the
it
street.
is it's probably one of the last Laflamme lots then.
Yes.
The only thing is there is some sort of stream there, so you might want to run this by conservation, Al. That's all I can
And
recommend.
already in the works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good on the septic end, Dick. That's fine.
Steve Ribberty already flagged it. I just continued his flags right onto my plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Lee, are you okay with this one?
Yes, I am, thank you.
Okay. Alan also that comes up someplace that out on Dairy Mart, there's a request to do a repair, and that the basic Alan Bakett's approach was going to be just replace components and clean out. This one, if we recall, we've had a pump that wasn't working, was system flooded, and then the leach field that has roots in it, and the investigation was done on the leach field. And where we are at this instant is that we at our last meeting said the store could open if the existing septic tank were turned into a temporary tight tank with alarm, and it could be used that way until the latest December 1st. And we said we would approve the licenses for the store if the tight tank conversion were done. In the meantime, in order to keep the house part of the dwelling running, the proposal from Josh Bugler was until the tight tank change has been made, that he would just continue pumping the septic tank out to allow the resident to have a flushing toilet. So we've got, in that part of it, Lee went out and inspected and found that he thought the electrical was substandard or questionable. And it turns out that the electrical inspector, there was no permit taken out, and the electrical inspector hadn't looked at it, so that we couldn't approve the tight tank. So that's moving in some direction. But then Alan talked to me and he said, gee, if I were just doing this and hired by someone, I would just be saying, let's just replace the components that are bad and be on with it. Clean the roots out of the trench, the pipes in the trench. And he said that 2 of the 3 trenches were clear, and he felt confident that just cleaning the roots out of the areas that he could see them would have been all set. And I told Alan, I think what the board is going to do is, before we go along with that, the board needs to discuss the fact that code says for this application, there should be 2 pumps and the backup power supply. So that's where we are right now. We owe Alan an answer as to whether we're gonna let just the existing stuff just be repaired, or whether we're gonna make it meet code. Lee and Bill, go ahead.
Well,
Lee- Lee-
so the electrical inspector is weighing in because permits weren't done. Have to be pulled, obviously, to bring this thing up to code, as far as I can tell. That was not done. So that my concern is for the safety of the tenants living above the store, and for the future functionality of the SAS, because that's going to be a pump. So I guess my concern initially is to get the electrical inspector out there first, and then from there go forward, because as I understand it, the tight tank conversion, I saw it done. Josh did a good job on that. But I don't think that we have a clear sense of the functionality of the SAS because of all the pine trees growing over
So we've
it.
got the first issue, or we'll call it the second issue, because the first one is you keep pumping it so the resident can live there. But the part we agreed to at the last meeting was that the existing tank would be converted to the existing septic tank would be converted into a tight tank with alarms. And that one, and if that happens, the operator of or the owner of the store could get in business, and we'd approve those licenses. So that obviously has to be done to code, because we definitely said the alarms had to work. So that's an issue that says it has to be legally done electrically, but that the second part is, for the long term, what are we gonna require? So that do we say just clean out? That's where you're just talking about, Lee. This is the thing that said after December 1st, it's got to be, the permanent system has to be in place. So first, do we just let the one pump and controls be put into the existing, well, or if we have to replace the pump chamber, I don't know that, but whatever it is, a single pump and just a replacement. And do we just clean out the leach field? So those versus bring the two pumps with the backup power supply is one issue, and the second is the leach field. Does it need to be just cleaned, or does it need to be replaced?
Well, here's a question, Dick. Did somebody do a TV camera down the leaching pipes?
May I speak?
Yeah.
Yes, Al.
Okay. The answer is yes. I was there with Lee a few weeks ago, and we found the root intrusion was only in one of the pipes, maybe I'm going to say 7 or 8 feet down. Seemed like by when we do the D-box replacement, which was originally proposed, that could be rectified. So as far as that goes, yes, the leach area
Well,
looks.
hold on, Al. So how are you going to extract the roots out of the pipe? Can you pull them out? Are they thin enough where you can actually pull them out physically?
What we could pull out from the box itself, we already tried, but by replacing the box and taking the first line, loosening the first pipe up, we'll be able to get, I think we'll be able to get the rest of it.
Okay, so you're gonna partially dismantle part of the leach field then, so you're gonna do that very, very carefully.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. all right.
Oh, there's that. And then the other issue was upon pumping, we found that the pump chamber is simply electrical work and a new pump put in to be put back. Business originally designed in 2000 or so. When Ian designed it. So the story there is basically whether we need to, I think what Dick was driving at, whether you want to look for 2 pumps, which is what a commercial operation might have today would be required to have today if put in new with a generator, or whether the original design is what we're targeting here to make work. And I think that's kind of where the discussion lies at the moment.
Okay, let me interject on the power supply. Is the facility fed with an electrically powered pump?
As in a well? Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
well pump.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so they're not on public water. I know the answer. I'm just asking the question. So my thought is, if it's a electrically powered well pump, my opinion is all you need is the 1 day of reserve, because there's no way you're going to overflow the system if you can't get the water out of the ground.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Anyway, that's my comments, Dick.
Can accept that too, and that's been the same that we've said in other cases also, Bill.
Okay.
So Lee, what is your thought on the power supply?
No, I mean, that concept makes perfect sense. That you can't hurt one without the other one coming into the building, and it won't come in with no power. When I was with Josh Fugler in the back of the store, he tried to trip the alarm on the existing fuse panel, and it would not function. And that's what prompted me to make a phone call to Colleen, and fast forward, here we are. It appears, and this isn't my calling in life, but it appears that somebody with a license needs to assess and, if necessary, repair the power supply to the SAS.
That's the immediate one that says they haven't complied with our requirement to turn the existing septic tank into a functioning, holding tank with
Right.
an alarm. So that part, because then once we go to the new system, then it gets pulled out of there again. It's no longer a tight tank. It's a septic tank.
Right.
So that part is preventing us from granting the license for the owner to operate the store, which was what we said we were giving this interim step, is so that owner could get operating. So the owner of the store, not the owner of the facility. So that has to be done. To comply with our agreement, the owner of the store, I would guess, would have to talk to the owner of the facility and get that done so the owner of the store can get operating. But now move back to, let's look at that. It sounds like the leach field, the SAS, may be something, I think Bill seemed comfortable that with the fact that 2 of the lines looked like they were in great shape and 1 could be fixed. It sounds like Bill would be leaning towards replace the D-box and clean out the roots, and the SAS is good to go. I could support that too. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Well, Alan can help me weigh in on this, on the far end of the SAS where the candy canes are. There's a decent volume of pine trees. Some, some of the bases are around 9 inches across. And I don't know what functionality there is. I don't know the root volume of that end of the SAS. We were dealing with just off the distribution box.
Yeah,
Initially.
so there's definitely room to cut trees over the leach field area. There's small pine growth there. No question. Better maintenance of vegetation over all the components of the septic.
All mixed together, is that okay?
Sure.
Great.
So,
let's
Al, do you think?
remove- Go ahead, Lee.
No. We tried to take the candy cane apart and we didn't get it done. So are we gonna, or did I miss? Did you send a camera down the candy canes at the far end of the system towards the distribution box?
So we sent the camera, there's 3 lines, as I recall, or 4 lines. We sent the camera down 2 or 3 of the lines, and there was no real root intrusion from the D-box end at all. We went down and stopped, pulled it back, went down, stopped, pulled it back, and then there was one line that had root intrusion, clearly, and that's the one I just meant.
Right, at the D box.
Yeah.
But what I'm referring to, Al, is the far end of the SAS, where the candy canes are in that
Yep.
little
I think I
porch.
recalled saying to you and to Josh that, look, when we get this T box out, we'll have all the lines in a place where we can look at them all the way down to the candy canes, and we'll do that further investigation then. But right now, it looked like there was just that intrusion on the one of the D box end for 7 or so feet.
So the
Right,
answer
so-
to Bill's question, Lee, is where you're
Yep.
going to. Bill, we don't have any idea what those lines look like.
No, we do.
Well, we know that one of them 7 feet away is plugged, but the other ones, you didn't slide them all the way down and say they're clean
No.
all the way to the end.
It's the other way around. The first 2 or 3 lines, we saw no root intrusion at all, so we stopped there. The last line had some root intrusion. It was not plugged, it was intrusion. And that we need into the first length to get the root out, because it wouldn't. So,
Okay, now I understand. So you did the job on the 2 out of the 3 that you could do that, but you couldn't get it past the roots to do the other, and that
the other
once you
one,
get in there, you'll finish it.
well, we got it roots on that third one. That wasn't great, but we did recommend that the roots that were there for 8 feet be removed when the D-box was done.
Yeah.
And then it looked there further down.
Okay, so we still have to shoot another, whatever, 30 or 40 feet down to know for sure that what we have is somewhat functional.
Yep.
And of course, the other concern I think we discussed, and correct me if I'm overstating my memory, is that it was hard to determine how much flow that system had gotten, since the tanks had evidence of being overflowing and not getting past the distribution box for a long period of time.
Yeah, there was no evidence at all of irrigation from at the distribution box. There's no high staining, nothing like that. You are correct. It looked like the pump failure had been going on for a long time and never even got that far for probably a while.
Right, so it's gonna, I mean, obviously, we're looking for roots and vegetative obstruction. But that being said, it's hard to determine how good it's going to work or not work, given the information that's presented to itself right now.
The intrusion, in my opinion, was less, the root intrusion was less than I had expected, is the best answer I can give you at this point in time, but there's more camera work that will verify that.
Okay.
Okay.
If we get to the pump, at this point, I feel reasonably strongly that we should have the two pumps. I think the fact that the system didn't work for probably maybe a long time because the pump didn't work and the alarms didn't work. And what I've been told is that the owner of the facility wasn't very anxious to deal with the root cause of this. I don't mean the roots that you guys have been talking about, but the cause of this issue, and the very thing that we've experienced with a separate owner of the facility from the owner of the business, and then a tenant besides a dwelling unit, that those issues are the very reason that you're supposed to have two pumps. We've seen the failure of the physical failure, but we've seen the system failure, the human failure of the owner and the remote owner, and like whether he accepts the responsibility or not. The bottom line is that the system didn't work because the pump failed, and it just kept going and running on the ground, versus having the two pumps doing with the duplicate controls, all the things to stop what we saw happen. And if the two pumps were there, it's not very likely that we would be experiencing what we're experiencing now. So my feeling is we should bring it to pump.
Can I answer that? My feeling, it's not easy to tell whether what failed was the electrical issues or the pump to cause the shutdown of the pump. Obviously, if you have one pump or 10 pumps, if electrical fails, if you're not going to get anything to run. We don't know that answer. The reality is it occurred. So a better way to resolve this might be like a condo, for example, where they're scheduled for a 1, 2, or 3 year. And that way you see it all working, and that might be a better contingent than just putting in a more, just throwing it out there.
So Al, you're saying a periodic inspection of the system?
Yeah,
by
like
a professional?
Yeah.
That way it would only flow on the surface for a year or 2 years or 3 years after it failed.
Not 10. Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there, Dick.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that the reason that the code says to do it this way is to give the reliability, the extra reliability. And we've seen from a physical standpoint, something broke. From a management standpoint, the person that, in fact, we knew the thing failed. Somebody knew it failed, and somebody chose not to work on it. And my feeling is, bring it to code. Code says this is what you need to get the added reliability, and we ought to do that. In this case, I think the track record says that this is a place that needs that extra reliability. That's my feeling. Lee and Bill.
I can understand that perspective. Because obviously this has been, you know, a problematic site. And we're trying to not let it repeat. And there is a little, and you know, it may or may not be indicative, but there is a little bump in the road right now with electrical permits that were or were not issued or pulled or anything else, and it appears that someone's cutting corners right from the get-go.
Think if
Which
we
is
look
trouble.
back, I recognize it's not the owner. But who knows who does what here, but we certainly, if you look at businesses in this town and protecting the youth in this town and saying we really care about what goes on in this town, this facility has
Hey,
got a
Stop.
record of not protecting our kids and not acting in a way that's been a responsible corporate citizen. Even though we've got a new owner, the last two owners weren't good corporate citizens. And I just don't understand. We've got this part of it is a carryover from the last way we're operating, and I think we ought to fix it.
I can support that.
Look, the code requires 2 pumps in a commercial establishment currently. I'm sure someday you'll be able to put a SCADA system in and tie the SCADA system into an automated acquisition system to let you know every time the pump runs, but we're not at that in the year 2024. Maybe the year 2030 will be there. But the current code says put in the double pumps. This is a commercial facility. I recommend we do the double pumps. End
And
of
Lee said the same thing, and I said, so that's what we've decided, Alan. So what we've got out of this discussion is we're not going to require the backup generator. We're not going to require that the SAS be replaced, but you are going to finish the investigation to determine if in fact the root removal of the one line is going to get it up to snuff. And we are going to require the 2 pumps. And it looks like we're still at the point that we agreed the last time, that says once the conversion is gone to get that septic tank working as a tight tank with the controls that are legal, that we're approving. We had approved those permits, the 3 permits involved, that Colleen can sign those off once Lee is signed off on that conversion until December 1st.
I had a conversation with Colleen a few days ago about the electrician getting in touch with her. Colleen, can you answer that? Did you hear from anyone?
The electrical inspector, I talked to him and he had no permit. So he did actually get a hold of the electrician and he is waiting. He said the electrician was not ready for him to come and inspect.
Okay.
So that's where that is, yes.
So it looks like that's where we are. So I think that,
everyone.
Alan, I think those were yours, Alan, is that right?
Yes, that's what I had for you tonight. That's correct.
Okay,
All right, good.
okay,
Thank you.
let's get
Hello,
back
everyone.
to
Thank
Neil.
No,
Hello.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Neil.
Hi,
Yeah.
So
Can you hear me? This is Prashant. I'm actually the tenant of that new property from 362 East State Street, Granby. So I'm the new tenant, and if somebody can just let me know, like, whom should I reach out to? Like, should I reach out to Colleen? Should I reach out to Alan and get a list of things that needed to be done? Because that store, like, we're just waiting from like past 1 month. I understand like the city needs all these compliances to be done, but somewhere I don't have any idea whom should I reach out to, and like how can I fix this? Because I have people, they're sitting home without jobs, and there are a lot many, issues now coming up. So if you all can guide me, whom should I go tomorrow and get the list, and who is the electrician? Like, if you all can guide me and help me in this, please.
The electrician, Alan, maybe you can help.
I don't know. I believe Josh may be on the call as well. Josh handled the electrician completely. Josh, are you there? I don't know. It's all handled by Josh Fugler. Yep. So I would say to Josh
Go
Fugler
ahead, Alan.
to make sure that that permit is proper for the alarm, for the aspect of getting that tank to work correctly so you can open up. And then beyond that, there'll be a second event that requires proper electrical work to be done for that they're talking about. And all that is actually being managed by Josh Fugler. He's doing the work with the electrician.
I know, but I don't know. Like, I haven't met Josh, the person who's gonna work at the property, and he might not understand everything properly. Is there by any chance I can stop by tomorrow? I can understand from you what is needed to be done, and I can go and explain Josh that please do this so that we can start going, and then we can open the store. So if it's possible, I can call you tomorrow. I can come down personally and see you, and I can get what is required to be done.
Why don't we communicate tomorrow on that? I'm able to do something mid or late afternoon, but I'm busy right straight through tomorrow. Josh would be your contact, and Josh, I can speak.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that this is a professional, two professionals working together, the owner and the engineer. That shouldn't be, this business shouldn't occur during Board of Health time. So I'd like you guys to take this offline, Alan. And I agree that someone that's being employed by the owner, whatever owner, the owner of the business, the owner of the facility, that someone who's getting paid to do that should be doing it. It's not the Board of Health responsibility to do that.
Sounds good.
So, okay, thank you. Now going back to Neil, the next one on Neil's agenda is, let me flip over my paper. It is, I think it's 99
North Street, yeah.
Street. Let
Yep.
me flip that over. 99 North Street. Now this is revised. Neil and I went out there. My concern when I saw the design was that the topo didn't look like it picked up an important low spot, and that we might have, on top of that, we might have rock to the south of where the holes, the deep holes were dug and where the system was going to be installed. And Neil and I did go out there, and indeed we looked and said, gee, we've got some problems with rock and that dip. So Neil redesigned part of the system. It's a 3-bedroom house, the complete system, the fees paid, the review's complete. It's a mainly wooded lot in the back. The cleared near the street. It's a 4.5 acre lot, sloped down towards the front. It's good sand. The soil that is there, 1 minute an inch soil. Didn't observe any water table. New deep holes did show ledge to the south end of the proposed at the south end of the proposed SAS. The issues are the ledge and portion of the lot in the back. a very limited area for the SAS. Also the existing well is located near the SAS area. So the design is now for most of it's the same. The design's for a 1,500 2-gallon compartment tank with an outlet filter. It's a 20 by 20 bed. You can't fit trenches in there. Consisting of 4 rows of 5 Elgin B43 units and the C32 33 sand. Removing the existing septic tank, reusing the existing plumbing and building store. Those required 441 gallons of provided versus 440 needed. Reserve area is not provided. Neil's got a 5-foot water table separation. Ballast is not required. There is a new well. I don't have written down that the old well has to be abandoned, but that is the case. The SAS and septic tank separation to the new and other wells is more than 100 feet. So it really is just a change of Neil switching to the Elgin systems and moving them further I'll call it the north. If you look at the lot further to the right, and switching. Actually, I think we've moved from terrace trenches to the Elgin bed, but we are going to fit in there and have the 5-foot separation. So it's just a change to the original design. Lee and Bill,
I'm good with that, Dick. I looked at it. I'm fine.
Lee, are you okay? We may have lost Lee.
Here we are. So,
Okay.
are we going to get the well, on this one in first, or does it? Well, we have to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The well needs to be in first again on this one, Colleen, before.
Okay.
And is this a point as well for the existing well, Neil? Do you remember?
It's a shallow well.
Okay. All right, so they'll abandon that, put the new well in, and then, the next morning or whatever, they can start putting in, the new system. Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one, so we're okay with that one, Colleen, but the well has to be in before we grant the permit.
Okay.
The next one is 326 Bachelor Street. Now, we're looking at this one. This is an addition of an ADU. And it's a complete, kind of a complete system for the ADU, but reuse of the septic tank for the original dwelling unit. The review isn't complete on this one. Neil was, the lot lines weren't on this drawing. And at this point, at least the drawing that what I had was not the requirement of having the deed so that the 2 dwelling units can't be separated as long as there's a common well and or septic system. So that wasn't done yet. The size of the ADU wasn't listed on the drawing as being under the 900 square feet. And where the bedrooms were located on this system wasn't on the drawing, whether they were in the original dwelling unit or the ADU. So I don't know, Neil, has that stuff all been corrected? I haven't seen a drawing.
Yeah, it's all been corrected, and I actually emailed it before the meeting. But yes,
Oh.
it's all been addressed. The lot line, 675 square foot dwelling with the ADU has 1 bedroom, 1 kitchen. The existing house has 3 bedrooms, 1 kitchen. artesian well. I think you wanted that, called out. I did
Right.
put a note, deed notice required for 2 buildings not to be subdivided without a new SAS and well installed. So
Okay,
think,
so with those
I
those
think I
are,
addressed everything.
okay, so those are quick. Let's go over then this is mainly a cleared grassy 1 acre lot, the ADU garage. The question we should have is that just so when we get down to it, we're assuming that this whole ADU question sits in our zoning, but the state is given till, I think, the 1st of February to get this straightened out. So we're in front with this approval of whether the building inspector is going to allow this to occur. But so it's an ADU and the garage are previously constructed, so they are there. They're not completed. The dwelling unit, my understanding, is not completed internally. It's a level with a gentle slope down to the street and to the west. There's 1 minute in soil. No water table was observed. The issue is this is a freestanding ADU on a 1 acre lot. The design is for an additional 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter for the ADU. The current 1,500 gallon septic tank is retained for the existing house. There is a common SAS consisting of 4 non-vented 3-foot by 45-foot trenches with 12-foot effective sidewall. The reserve area is between and adjacent to the trenches. There's 666 gallons per day provided versus 660 required. The reserve area, that's a mistake. The reserve area is there. That's a cut and paste where I've said it's not provided. 5-foot water table separation is provided. Ballast is not required. The existing common deep well is being shared. The SAS and the septic tank separation to the new and other wells is more than 100 feet. And also I don't have it said then to any wetlands. So discussing the trench permit, the deed restriction, and a building permit required.
Quick question, Dick. Neil, how far is the ADU from the parent building? Roughly.
Probably 100 feet.
Okay. How far is the ADU from the well?
Oh, from the well,
Yeah.
little over 100 feet.
Okay. Are you going to design the splitting assembly? Because you're having 1 well feed 2 units. You got to do a little bit of plumbing there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So who designs that? You or the plumber?
Probably the well guy.
The well guy will design that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is interesting, Bill. Yeah, someone does have to design that because
Oh, yeah.
if you end up having to have only 1 well tank.
Well, that's
Otherwise,
right.
these things, the controls are going to be funny. So
That's right. And you might
Right.
need check valves and stuff. You don't want it backfeeding into the other house. It's funny, people don't think too much about this, but there's a little bit to it.
Yeah.
so the plumbing part would have to be. Now, are we going to get ourselves into a bind? Do we make this one subject to getting the building permit for the construction of the ADU first? We're gonna get tangled up if the building inspector requires us to grant the statement, sign off on SAS and the water supply for him to grant the building permit. Do we make this subject to having the building permit, the building inspector send us a letter saying that he's gonna grant the building permit if we sign off on this? I don't want to get into the spot that we sign off on something that's not legal.
Yeah. Far as I know, Governor Healy, when she signed that by rights proclamation a while back, effective, I don't know what the effective date was, but I think it was immediate, that people by right have the right to do an ADU on their parcel. Now, as far as
I think the 1st of February, Bill, is when it,
February.
is it February 2025?
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, well, again, I would recommend that we approve our stuff subject to acquisition of a formal building permit. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation. But I think we got to go first because Damien's not going to approve it unless they have a working leach field and a working potable water supply. So we got to go first.
My suggestion is that we approve it subject to Damien telling us that he will approve the building permit. Yeah, that he is going to approve the building permit.
Yeah, well,
If he said he
theoretically, they could put in the leach field, put in the plumbing for the well, and then not get a building permit and have all this other ancillary stuff in the ground with nobody to use it.
You could. I guess
That's
you're right,
possible.
Phil.
That's possible.
That
Right.
it's not illegal to put in a septic tank and it's not illegal to put
Exactly.
in a leach field.
Right,
So
and
we
you're not,
could,
and you're not
it may
approving
be,
an ADU, you're just making it, legal as far as the water and the sewage is concerned.
that's right. That's right. That if no one can live in the building, it doesn't matter that there's a sewage
Right.
pipe connected to it.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that. Lee, what is your thought?
No, yeah, it's new territory for everybody. But going backwards a little bit to Bill's comment on the backflow preventers, should that be penned in here, or is that something the plumbing inspector is going to be on board with and just know it? You know what I mean?
I think it's plumbing inspector's job.
All right, so just let it roll the way, what we have on paper is, from what Neil put on paper, is all we need to worry about.
Neil, did you move the connection from the?
Yes.
In fact, we ought to talk about this. Bill and Lee, what I asked Neil to do, Neil was running the effluent of the ADU tank to the inlet of the old septic tank.
Yeah, I see.
The existing.
Yeah.
And I said, no, let's not do that. Let's get, instead of taking that extra volume and throwing it into the first tank, you know, you've had some decent filtration. We've got a 2-compartment tank, the new one. Let's let the liquid join the effluent of the first tank. So don't mix good water into the first tank, and you know, put the effluents together and away it goes.
Yeah, that's been changed.
It has, okay.
Yeah.
So are we okay with this? We're gonna let this one go?
Yeah, yes, I recommend it.
Okay.
Yep,
Lee?
yep.
Me too,
Yes.
Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is one that deserves a little talk. Neil, so this is on 16 East Street, this is the wine house. And Neil has informed me that Jim Trumke said he wants a whole system designed. Currently, Neil has proposed a 2,000-gallon tight tank. And what that gets in trouble with is that for new installation, we can't approve it, and tight tanks can't be that size. It's too small for a tight tank anyway. But so that Neil has said, okay, Jim has said, let's design a full system, but for us to be talking, Board of Health to be talking, this was supposed to be in front of us on the 1st of June. It is now, several months later, and we're finally getting Neil to say, the owner said now it's time to work on it. And do we just, we've got a permanent tavern that's operating without a septic system. Working on we don't have a schedule for this. We don't even know that it's going to be approved. It isn't designed. We don't have a schedule for when it's going to go in. Do we just continue and let it go, or do we try to get this corrected? That's
The
a question.
correction process is obviously well overdue. We've been bringing this up now and then, now and again. And yeah, I'm all on board in embracing their desire to do this thing up correctly. But I'm a little frustrated by the time frame. Get from June 1st to now and find out that we're doing something different at this point in time with winter approaching. Which doesn't mean that I don't want it done.
Yeah, practically speaking, this won't be on the ground till next summer.
And that's exactly where I'm going with this thing, Bill. You're absolutely correct.
Have to be that way. If you look at last year we didn't even have any frost in the ground.
Right. I mean, they can put them in year round.
So they're going to get done. Because from the good standpoint is that I'm going to guess this business is going to start to slow down anyway. So one of the things that Jim has got is that it's a beautiful place to be sitting outside and enjoying the country and your bottle of wine and whatever. It's a beautiful place. But once it's snowing and it's cold, I don't think there's going to be so many people there. I drove by this weekend, and the field was filled with cars. So it was a great weekend for that, and that's great.
Now, can I make a suggestion? I realize a tight tank is not a legal solution. I was led to believe that was going to be okay, but my suggestion would be to put in that 2,000-gallon tight tank, but it will obviously could be converted to a septic tank. And until the whole system's in, just pump that as needed. And that way you're not using a Sandy can and everything's going into an approved septic tank. And 2,000-gallon capacity, he could just keep it pumped. And then, we add the septic system to it. So in the meantime, he has something better than a Sandy can.
If you went in that direction, Neil,
Mm-hmm.
would you be able to quickly do the calculations to say that 2,000 gallons is the right size septic tank for this, for your design. You've got what's needed
Yeah.
right now
Yep.
to go through and say, yeah, the system is gonna be,
Right, they want to add the house to it too, so I have to make, I believe it's a 3-bedroom house, but I want to do a room count too, because obviously that comes into play. If there's 10 rooms, or I don't know how many rooms are in there, so I want to make sure it's designed properly for the house.
so that, as you start going through that, he's gonna have to, well, if it comes to that, the decision's gonna come out, do we lock those two facilities together with a deed restriction, which I'm not sure he wants to do. But,
Well, you would have to have a deed restriction that it can't be subdivided without putting in a new septic system, certainly. I mean, that's certainly, I don't think he'd have a problem with that. I can't speak for him, but and you certainly don't want a shared system if it can be avoided.
Yeah.
yeah, so we're at the point right now that we haven't seen your design. We've got to talk about why would we, Bill and Lee, why would we put in a shared system right here? Clearly, they're really, really different. This is not like the dwelling and the ADU that are essentially the same uses. You've now got a commercial operation with a dwelling unit. Why would you put those together right now?
Yeah, it's time for your pick.
Let's
Do we have
move
any
back
con-
to what Neil, let's move back to what Neil just proposed before that.
Yep.
And that would be that you put in the septic tank immediately, get the right septic tank size, and you put it in immediately, and then give a time frame to get the rest of it completed. So it's not us authorizing a tight tank that's the wrong size.
Right.
What Neil has pointed out is exactly right, though. The sewage is not, it gets out of the sandy cans. The whole pumping issue that we had for complaints from the neighbor goes away. There's a lot of good things, and it gets done immediately.
Right, exactly. It can be addressed immediately. And you already have a plan with the elevations for the tank. We've already done depots, so we know we're above the water table. We have the 12-inch separation. So that, I mean, and we're pumping it, so the elevation of the septic system really is relevant because we're pumping anyway.
Lee and Bill, are you willing to entertain that approach? It certainly says that there's no sewage going in the ground and there's no sandy cans in it, and we're not waiting until the summertime next year to get it done.
Right.
So, tight tank for the moment. So, no crystal ball, but the house or the structure that's there and the facilities for the winery are gonna be as one.
I would say we deal with this, if we make it consistent with the ADU concept.
Yeah.
We'll will disengage Neil from this problem is that you would say the tank, that the house is going to require its own septic tank, and the tavern has its own septic tank. So now the decision of numbers of pumps, sizes of pumps, numbers of SAS, all can be pushed off a little bit, and we can
Okay.
get Neil and to his recommendation that that particular, if it's the right size, he's going to check it to make sure it's the right size tank. But if that's the right size tank for the tavern, he can deal with the house separately, because we're already saying it's going to have its own septic tank. And then how we deal with the effluent of the two tanks, we can talk about later, but we get rid of the Santa cans, and the sewage is no longer on top of the ground. I could support that approach.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a good, I think it's a very good interim plan, which can be implemented relatively soon, relatively
Yeah,
quickly.
I mean, I do have the calculations for the tavern with 48 seats. It's 960 gallons per day. So the 2,000 gallon tank would be 200%. So that the 2,000 gallon tank would be perfect.
So if for it's not my battle, but this thing's going to be theoretically being pumped twice a week.
Yeah, depending on how many events they have.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously, we're all getting something that we want here.
Right.
And an estimation of when a potential heuristic design will be gracing our calendar in the future.
Well, I talked to Dick earlier today, so we just have to schedule the perk test. So whenever he can do that, do the perk test we'll do an out of season, and then I can get on the design quickly.
Okay. I mean, absolutely. I'm 100% on board with this concept.
Who would even, to save the time, since again, we're 3 months plus beyond where we promised we'd be.
Yep.
I would like to have Neil go to the owner and say, this is what our plan is, and let's get the tank.
Right.
Let's get the tank split off, get the approval for that done, and get it going, rather than have Neil go through the design process and just this part saying, we've got the right size tank, let's get it installed now.
Right. And I'm gonna see Jim tomorrow, so I can tell him,
Okay.
let's get it done.
So by Halloween, this phase should be in the rearview mirror.
I would say definitely.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So it looks like we're set. So we got further, Neil, than I thought that we'd do.
No,
on
that's
that one.
good. That's good.
Yep, absolutely.
And your intervention helped. Your creativity got us
Sometimes you have
all.
to be creative.
That's
So
right. So we got
everybody's
us.
happy.
Yeah. Not everybody didn't get what they wanted right now, but
But
it looks
everybody got
like
something.
they got something.
Everybody got
If our
something.
government could start to work again like that, we'd be in pretty good shape.
Well, don't hold your breath.
So
See how that
okay.
moment is already, see how that good feeling just went away so fast.
I know, right? Yeah, that didn't take long.
No, not at all.
Okay. So we'll go, now let's get back into what we're supposed to be dealing with. Which I'll see if I can. With all of this stuff, I probably lost my pile of stuff.
We have to do the meeting minutes too, Dick.
Oh, okay. Lee, how are we with the meeting minutes of August 27th, 2024? Are we okay with those?
Yes.
I am too, Colleen, so,
Okay,
and Bill, we should note that Bill is, I don't know whether we call him absent for now, or I guess he didn't abstain. We'll just say he's absent for right at this point.
okay.
Dick, I'm giving you cat meds. I'll be done in about 10 minutes.
Okay,
I had a
well,
feeling
we're
you'll
not
take
going
that.
doing anything controversial, Bill, so. The next one that I have is a temporary food license for Granby Preservation Society. And it is for a one-day temporary food permit. The event date is September 28th for the Fall Craft Fair. Are you okay with that, Lee?
Yes, thank you.
I am too, Colleen, so that's
Okay.
approved with Bill absent. The
Okay,
next one is Immaculate Heart of Mary, also for a license for a one-day temporary food permit for a craft fair. The event date is November 2nd, 2024. Are you okay with that one, Lee?
Yes.
I am too, Colleen, with Bill absent.
okay,
The next one is also for Immaculate Heart of Mary, a one-day temporary food permit. The event date is November 9th for a Veterans Court roast dinner. Are you okay with that, Lee?
Yes.
I am too, Colleen, that's approved with Bill absent.
okay,
The next one is a tobacco permit for Cumberland Farms at 74 West State Street for, it expires, it starts October 1st, 2024, and it expires September 30th, 2025. Are you okay with that one, Lee?
One quick question for Colleen. I think I know the answer. But Colleen, as we go forward to these tobacco licenses for these various businesses, I'm guessing that there are no outstanding invoices to the town for any tobacco control issues with these guys?
no, not that I'm aware of.
Sure.
Nope.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No, they've been good. Yeah, these guys have been all good. Yep.
Okay, thank
So
you.
are you okay with that one, Lee?
Oh, yeah, yes.
I am too, Colleen, with Bill absent.
Okay,
The next one is also a tobacco permit for 367 East State Inc., doing businesses Brusso's Liquor, and it also expires September 30th, 2025. Tobacco permit. Are you okay with that one, Lee?
Yes, thank you.
I am too, Colleen, with Bill absent.
okay,
The next one is for Hustira Inc., doing business as Granby Liquor Store. A tobacco permit also expires September 30th, 2025. Are you okay with that one, Lee?
Yep. Yeah.
I am too, Colleen, with Bill absent.
okay.
The next one,
Oh,
and my list says there are more than one permit for, this is for Union Mart. The one that I have is a food establishment application, but I do not have, let me see where this is. I'm supposed to have tobacco, retail, food, and milk license.
Yeah, I probably didn't send those because I knew they weren't being approved at this point with their holdup.
Are they in place? Are the three applications and do you have
Yes,
them in?
I
hand?
have, yes, I have these, but the tobacco one will expire September 30th, so I don't have the new application because, I wasn't sure who, whether they were going to, but I do have to get them to maybe fill out the new one. It was just a matter of whether they were going to use the one from before September 30th or use the other one. But yes, I've got all those, and I probably had sent them like for the last meeting or whatever, but I don't think I sent them this one because I didn't think they were going to be approved with their holdup with the electrician and stuff.
So
I got you.
on this one, Lee, do we approve all three of these licenses subject to your signing off on the holding tank? And if we do this, though,
Yeah,
what we said is these licenses only go to the 1st of December. That's what we said.
yep,
All right.
So these would be, the three of them would be approved, subject to Lee signing off on the temporary conversion of the septic tank to the holding tank. And they're valid only to December 1st, 2024.
Okay.
okay. And
With-
should we, throw in the caveat that the electrical inspector needs to, bring us into the loop, stating
Oh,
that,
go ahead, Lee.
stating the permits have been pulled and the work has been done according to the, state codes?
My suggestion would be that you don't sign off until it's up to code. So
Right,
he's
so
got, that way it doesn't have to go to Colleen. Colleen can tell you that the electrical permit has been, that the electrical inspector has said that he signed off on it, but you don't sign off until it's the code.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand. Yep.
So,
Okay.
so that way
That
it makes
makes
it so he can go in business when that's done instead of waiting for another. Now, this would
Yeah.
also mean, Colleen, that just in a note, that the fees, when the septic system is brought up to date, then there wouldn't be any additional fees for this. These would be extended to the normal termination time.
Yes, yeah.
So now Bill is back. Bill, we've done a bunch of permits, but this one is Union Mart. And what we've said is that the permit for cigarettes, for food and dairy and milk, all three permits would be approved up to December 1st, 2025, subject to Lee approving the temporary conversion of the existing septic tank to a tight tank. And that would be extended to the normal end date without additional fees once the septic system is completed. But our agreement was that December 1st was.
Yeah, but you said 2025, Dick.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2024.
Okay, very good.
So are you okay with that? What this does is allows them, if he can get the get the electrical work done and Lee signs off on that, then our board has all said he can get opening, so we don't have to wait for additional meetings. It gets this resolved. So we're all in agreement to that, Colleen.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Got it.
The next one that we have is, oh, I'm in conflict. This is just a certificate of compliance for the septic tank and D-box at 48 Cherry Hill Road, and it's for mine. I'm in conflict with that. So I can't discuss it or vote on it.
Dick, the job is done?
Yeah,
Well, that
this
was
is a
fast.
sign off from John Fugler and
Josh Fugler installed, I did it on site. Everything was put in, correctly. So it's all good.
Okay, I move we approve it.
Okay,
Okay.
yep, I agree.
so Colleen, Lee and Bill with me being in conflict.
Okay,
The next one is a COC for Lynn Mercier at 398 Bachelor Street, and this is for a tank, I think.
It's a whole system.
Oh, this one's the whole system.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't have an as-built attached to it. This
Did
was
they do
supposed,
the elevations and so forth, or no?
I didn't
did.
see,
I'll get that to you.
yeah, I don't think I got one. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
this
me.
one
Okay.
can't be,
Okay.
this can't be approved without a horizontal and vertical as-built. So we
Okay,
can't do
yep.
that.
Okay, you'll have it this week.
Okay. The
Okay.
next one is a application for disposal system. This is for 362 Oh, this
That's
this
the,
is what we discussed with Alan. So that one's not gonna be done. Next one is 300 Amherst Street. And it is an application for a construction permit for, let's see what this is. This is for a septic tank. This is a septic tank
Yes.
at 300 Amherst Street. Are we okay with that, Lee?
I'm trying to think where the heck I am now.
Yeah, that's, just to remind you, Lee, we went out there and we dug a deep hole, right next to the leach pit. We shot the water table of the deep hole, the bottom of the pit, and we had the fort, well, we had over 3 feet, I know that, of separation.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, I just got lost with all the,
Yeah, no, I know.
The
No,
next one is a construction permit for 33 Green Meadow Lane. And this is for a septic tank and distribution box. And this is also by Neil Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg,
we
I was
okay?
putting it in.
Are we okay with that?
yeah, that's that house way down on the left at the end. Yeah.
Okay, so I am too, Kelly. So that,
okay,
the next one is a well permit application. And this is from Quabbin Well and Pump. It is for 163 Burnett Road. That one is so the lot, it's like the third lot in from West Street on the east side. That's Dakota. And Dakota Richards, and it's being installed. I actually have the system design that we approved with the approved well location. Are you okay with that, Lee and Bill?
I haven't seen that one, Dick. I can't really opine on it.
Okay, we did approve the system design with the well located on it with dimensions, so it looks like it should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's gonna have to run it by conservation.
Well, this is only for the well.
Oh,
Oh, I
all
guess
right.
if he should get the whole thing done, because it's putting
Yeah,
a
yeah,
well
they
in
had,
at the septic
yeah, they were
system is
supposed to
gonna
put
be
in
a-
boundary markers for the wetland and offsets and all that, so just remind Dakota to run things by Conscom.
the
Okay,
well
so
truck is
that
site.
one approved. Well, we're getting late here, so
Yeah.
we've got Title V inspection report. It looks like we've got 76 East Street by Alan Weiss is a pass. That one was a good tank, a good water table. We've got 111 New Ludlow Road by Nick Peretti with the same thing. We've got, I'm hoping when my thing copied, I didn't lose any, but 62 Ruby Street, which was a flooded system that failed by Ernie McCool. And then
Laura McCool.
86 West Street by Greg Everson. It was also a good one for size and separation that passed. Are we good with all four of those?
Yes, the only minor point on 62 Truby Street was Laurie McCool.
Well, it's Larry. Okay. Now Ernie is her husband, I think, huh?
Yeah.
Related somehow.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's her
yeah.
husband.
Yeah, Ernie's wife is Lori's sister, so they're sister-in-law, brother-in-law.
That's where it is. Okay. Okay. I knew there was something there.
Oh,
Okay.
oh. Okay. Ernie's wife is Laurie's sister.
I believe
No,
so.
no, Ernie McCool is Lori's husband. Then there's Ernie
That's what-
Matthews, who's married to Lori's sister. They both their husbands are named Ernie. So it gets a little confusing.
So
Okay.
they are related then, okay.
Yeah, they're related, yes.
Okay. So we're all first set with those four.
Yep.
So
Okay. All set, okay.
okay. Now the next ones we dealt with our meeting date.
Mhm.
We have a question about acupressure spa at 61 Pleasant Street. That's old Henry Roberts' house, I think, right next to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Behind Duncan, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, from what Colleen has told us, it doesn't look like they puncture anybody. It doesn't look like they do anything to, I don't know what we need for permits for this. Do they have to tell us whether they're touching people with towels and are they cleaning stuff up? Is there,
Dick, they gotta be licensed by the Commonwealth, don't they?
well, I don't know what they need here.
Colleen, you got an assignment.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's acupuncture, they need to be
No, it's
licensed.
acupressure.
It's acupressure, so
Yeah, they're
I
not
didn't
using-
find anything on the state website for that. Looks like it might be a certificate or something, but they have done it in other places. So
You can call DPH or maybe you can call our shared services friends in Northampton
mhm,
and ask what we have to be careful for here.
yeah, okay.
Do we need any intervention or comment from building inspector as far as size of room, egress, things of that nature?
Yeah, how many people are in there? We don't know anything. This is,
Yeah, have them make a presentation to the board as to what they do and how they're gonna, maintain the facility, that's all.
but also that I think starting off with Northampton and see the, you know, Meredith may have a really good handle about what's going on
Yeah.
here. That,
Mhm.
you know, if they're using hot stones or something, do they have to be
Yeah.
sanitized?
Yeah.
Who knows where they're placing hot stones before they put it on the next person? I
Oh,
just don't know.
It seems like a cross between acupuncture and chiropractor. That's what it sounds like to me.
That building's on the community septic system, correct?
Oh, that's Castellanus's house, right?
I don't know.
Which now is owned by Hallen.
It was, in my day, it was Henry Roberts.
Right,
It
and
was
they
a
got the
septic
metal
system
building out
contractor.
back and they got the solar panels on the
Yeah,
house and
that's
on the
right,
metal building.
that's
Yeah,
right.
okay. Yeah, that's a good sized parcel, actually.
Okay.
Now we've got,
Okay.
we actually have 3 systems that I know of that are in place. This is 49 Barton Street. There's an order for a septic system design, but we also have, along with that, on Pleasant Street, we've got, we're, Ossier. It was John Piquette's house, the white brick or the yellow brick house with the car barn next to it, or truck barn, and it was Linda Ossier's cousin that was there. I can't remember his first name. Rocco, I think was. But we ordered that system to be replaced. And then there's another one that was it Steve Zabin's house out on South Street near LaFlamme? That's another one that we said the system needed to be replaced. And at least 2 of the 3, the one on Barton Street and the one on South Street, they've just changed. There's new occupants in them. And what do we do with? Do you know if there are more than 3 that we said need to be replaced and they haven't been replaced?
I can't remember.
But I know of those 3. And the one on Barton Street, I drive by, quite often, and there are several cars. It looks like it's occupied for sure. And the one that on South Street near the LaFlamme farm, that definitely went from being an unoccupied place that was overgrown to, and looks like it's occupied now. What do we do with these places? The one on Barton Street, we've got a neighbor that's saying, hey, guys, you got a system that's probably, we know is no good and polluting. What are we doing with that?
I was on site on Barton Street, and they were supposed to be scaring up a plan to start a design, which didn't go anywhere. Which is probably no surprise, but it's still wrong. I don't know, maybe recontacting the owner to see what their intentions are, if any.
Do we want to have Colleen try to do it on all 3 of them?
I would definitely support that for sure, yeah.
Or at least we'll get it started again, Colleen, and ask them what their schedule is to get the design completed and the system installed. Let's just ask, and then we'll see what we have to do, and maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised and we'll get an answer.
Okay. All right. I'll try to get in contact with these. I'll look up these other two. I don't know, how long ago were those ordered? Like a while ago?
I would guess, less than 6 months for all three of them.
Oh,
Well, not
these are
Barton
recent?
Street, not Barton Street, but the other two, I think, were the one on Pleasant Street is still for sale,
Okay,
and the
Yeah,
one,
that was a groundwater call that was never done.
right. And I think it was the same problem on South Street, and I'm guessing it's 6 months-ish kind of
6 months.
time.
oh, okay, these were recent ones,
All of that, yeah.
okay.
We've got planning board department review for a special permit at 47 Amherst Street. That's a big barn and garage. It's probably, are we too late for that?
I think it's gone by
Okay,
the deadline, yeah.
I guess that answers that question.
Yeah.
The next one Colleen got here is that the temporary event application for special permit. Colleen gave us a form to review, and it asks things like toilets and trash, and what we haven't done is we haven't set any standards. Has anybody even had an event, Colleen?
Nobody has, I have not heard from anyone after I sent the letters. They have not made any, they haven't said anything to the Board of Health. They have said things, I think, to other departments about their displeasure. But I haven't heard from anyone. No one has sent in anything, and I don't know. Yeah, so. I don't know.
If someone fills out, this is Lee and Bill, if someone fills out one of these forms, what are we gonna, since we don't have any standards, should we be trying to set some standards that if Colleen says, where are you getting your water supply? And they tell us they're getting the water supply from the swamp in the back. We don't have anything that says that's not a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, where am I going here? Should we discuss or consider that the host facility, have on record a minimum water quality test performed yearly?
My suggestion is that we not try to do it at a meeting where it's after 9 o'clock already. And
Yep, I got
that we ask Colleen to set 15 minutes early in a meeting, maybe it's the next meeting, that she resend this out, and let's the three of us go through it item by item with Colleen's list, and
Yep.
say, is it a good list, and is there something we want to do to fix it up some more? What do you think of that?
Sure, that makes sense. Do we know
Bill, what do
if
you
any
think?
other
No, I
surrounding
agree.
towns
That's a good idea.
do this?
What was that,
They
Lee?
That's a
comment-
good thing. We could give Colleen that assignment, Lee. is to have Colleen go
She's gonna
to,
get back
she's
at it.
talking to Northampton. Why don't we ask Northampton if they've got any kind of rules on these temporary events? I'll bet they, with all the towns now that they're dealing with, I'll bet they've got loads, well, not maybe loads, but I'll bet they've got venues that are doing this kind of thing.
You would think
And
so.
we could find out.
Okay,
And maybe the shared services people, maybe less, one phone call, Colleen, and it could knock the thing out.
Yeah.
Fully.
mm-hmm,
We've
Yeah.
still got the Board of Health regulations. We need to do that. And I haven't heard anything back. I think I copied you in on Dollar General on their forebay that I expect to be hearing something back from Tyler Avery. I passed on Lee and Bill what their proposal was. And it looked to me that two things that were obvious to me is that the overflow from the subsurface chambers that he was installing, that the overflow is on the top of the chamber, which means the chambers were going to be filled with water all the time. So they're not going to do any absorbing. And the other is that on the leaching basin, they left the same depth that they have now with the same overflow to the street sewer, which means it's going to stay filled the way it is now, unless they do something. But I haven't heard back. And when the last conversation, I think I passed it on to the three of you from Tyler, and he's saying once I got back from vacation, he was going to get back to me and talk.
So Dick, are they open to a material change of the facility?
I think limited. I think they're open to a change in the drainage area. I know when I talked to Tyler, he said they were not open to ripping up the parking lot and redoing the drainage piping. So it sounded like they were willing to do things that are, outward from the paving.
Okay, so they're gonna regrade the paving to direct runoff in other directions, potentially.
Well, no, it didn't sound like he wanted to do that. It sounded like he wanted to keep the existing catch basins and existing piping, which he told me is low enough that the piping is always filled with water right now. It's below the water table.
Dick, I'll just reiterate what I was thinking probably a year ago. An air stone with a little air pump would do wonders for that uppermost basin.
Yeah,
And it's a cheap solution.
yeah.
You'll get a lot of bang for your buck doing it that way.
So we ought to get something to it so we can talk about.
What would that do, Bill?
That'd get rid of the mosquitoes. It would essentially oxygenate the water, keep the odors down, get rid of some of the maladies in the water. It essentially would oxygenate the water like a fish tank. It would operate like an aquarium tank. And I've done that in other projects, and it does a great job helping out the environment. It really does.
You get a lot of bang out of your dollar.
Oh yeah, for $5,000 they can put in a Cadillac system there. That'd be beautiful.
Wow. So it's time for him to be talking to us. Then what I ought to do is set him up if we have to, or not have to. Let's if we have to meet separately, is get them set up on a Zoom meeting and let them talk to the three of us and see if we can talk this thing through. And so why don't I do that?
Please,
Okay.
please do, Dick, please do.
I'm starting to be tired. My stitched up back is telling me it's time to be.
Well, we still have another review, Dick. We
Which
didn't
one?
address 51
Oh.
South Street yet.
You're right. I don't know why I missed that. Let me
I
find
think-
my
I-
seat.
I think Dave's falling asleep.
Let me find it. I must have it
Neil.
here.
Dave,
Neil, I
have
thought
you
your
eaten dinner
TV
yet?
broke, that's why it's still here.
You know what? It's in a fold in my seat, Neil. You should have said something earlier. So this is 51 South Street.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-bedroom house. At the time I did this, I said it wasn't complete, but Neil got back with it. It's a cleared, grassy. Neil didn't tell me how big the lot was, so I'm guessing we know what it is.
5.4 acres.
Okay, so now we know it's 5.4 acres. It's relatively narrow. Behind the house is steeply sloped down towards the rear, towards the east. Loose hill with a 34 and 38-inch water table. Wetlands are towards the rear of the lot. The issues are the steep slope, the high water table, the septic tank location does not meet the current Granby well separation requirement. The design is a 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. Got 3 terraced 41-foot trenches consisting of 10 Elgin B43 modules each with the C33 sand, not vented. Retaining the existing plumbing and building sewer still is required. 675 gallons a day is provided versus 660 required. Reserve area isn't provided. At a 4-foot water table separation. I said that the ballast calculations were not provided here. Neil explained to me that the tank is in an elevated area and still that ballast is not required. It's not in the till. Going to pump, crush, and remove the existing tank and replace put a new tank in the same spot. There's a clean out provided halfway between the tank and the D box. The siltation fence is specified. The septic tank and the SAS and other wells are all more than 100 feet, but the SAS is 175 from this well, but the existing well is only 70 feet from the new septic tank, and that which is adjacent to the current location. The tank is down gradient from the well, and moving that tank down the slope to get to 100 feet it definitely creates a problem. Actually, it then gets into flotation and also maintenance for pumping down a steep slope. We should discuss the trench permit requirement and the fill requirement. What are your thoughts?
Artesian well, Neil?
Yes, yep.
All right, thank you.
So the well is obviously more than the 50 feet that the state requires.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the back slope, obviously, given these numbers is, it's an aggressive pitch.
Yeah, it is.
Phil, is
Yeah.
this too close to your house that you're in conflict?
No,
on this
I'll
one?
I'll disclose for the record that I'm Dave's neighbor, but I'm not going to recuse myself. I'll vote on this. I have no
Okay.
problem with that.
Okay.
But disclose that I'm a neighbor, Colleen, just for the record.
Okay,
The only thing that, Bill, that this one, and I'll give you some thought, is to maybe keep us all out of a little bind. Depending on what we do with this septic system, could affect theoretically the value of your house. It also could affect what we end up, if we set a precedent here, what we do to the potential repair of your septic system. So it does, in my view, it's got the potential of affecting you financially. If it were me right now, I would just say, I don't want to talk about this one. But it's up to you. But I see nothing in it. You know, if I look at what you gain by being involved with this versus what you lose by not, I think there's the safe. If it were me, I would be saying, I'm not going to talk about this one. But that's up to you. Were you able to hear what I said, or did I go out?
Oh, no, that's good. No, I appreciate your logic, Dick.
So,
I'll talk about it. I may abstain on the vote, but I'd still talk about it.
okay. Okay, so then let's talk. I think this is okay, but
Neil, how is, this is not, you know, this is not your battle, but how the heck are they gonna get the equipment down that hill? And then back up that hill?
There's kind of a road on a clearing actually, on the south side of the lot that I think they can
Okay.
get, they can't get a 10-wheeler. They're gonna have to shuttle, probably with a skid steer, shuttle the fill down. I'm assuming. I don't think
Yeah,
they'll
'cause
put a road in, but I don't know.
it looks like you're a 30 foot plus drop.
Right, it's not
to
quite
west
as
on
steep
this.
on the south part of the lot, and Dave, Dave is the abutter, so if they went over the line a little bit, I don't think that'd be an issue, but I'm not sure how Greg's gonna do that, honestly.
Yeah,
the problem with that property, Lee, is if you get onto that hill, that
Yep.
soil is really, really nasty. That drumlin is really, really dense. And if you don't get off of that hill, if you look at Silsby property, you know, we have to get down off the hill into kind of into this topo line to be able to get at the perk. If you go across the street from Silsby on that hill, in fact, if you go across the street and then down towards Still on the other side of the hill, that anything on the drumlin just doesn't take water. So I think that Neil is getting off that hill. If you look at George Galus's lots, if you look at the two lots, the houses that are down in the hill that are to the north of this property, to the north of Bill, that
yep.
it's the same thing. They had to get off of this hill to pick up that soil. That's where it starts to get softer down at the bottom. So I don't think Neil's got any choice but to be working in this spot.
Right.
Right, you have to grab the soil at the base of the slope to find something to work in.
Dick, the only thing you could do, and what I'm thinking of doing someday, is putting in one of those drip right systems in topsoil.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an unusual system, but it's perfectly set up for this situation.
Yeah. The only thing, this is straightforward. I don't think Neil has done anything that's against the code. That if he says he'd like to put this design in, I think the design would work. It's appropriate. It's not something that you say, boy, Neil, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? And it looks like, in this case, if you said, gee, you could move the tank further down the hill to get the 100 feet, I think it's really a nasty thing. It's gonna cost a lot more money to put the tank in, and it's gonna be a maintenance nightmare to do it. And besides, it's down gradient, so I don't think you're gaining a blessed thing. It's just
Right.
Yeah,
complying for the sake of complying.
you're not gonna win on this one.
So,
But yeah, I mean, as far as what I'm seeing here, as far as, the numbers all work. Like you said, we got 20 feet more on the well separation than the state requires. I don't have any reason at all to, I can't see anything to argue here.
okay.
What do you think, Bill?
Like you're gonna decide to vote on this or
No,
not?
no, I know which way the pendulum's swinging. There's no reason for me to vote, so I'll abstain.
Okay,
That's
Okay.
fine. That's perfect.
Got it.
okay,
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
okay, Colleen, so we're gonna approve that subject to the trench and the fill requirement.
Okay.
Sorry, Neil, I didn't write this down for you for the first, I cut you off, and then I cut it off again.
I know. I thought you had
Well,
it in for this one.
As long as we have to stay up this late, you might as well stay up too.
There you go.
Well, you're the one that made most of the designs tonight, so you caused most of this. You might as well suffer through it.
That's right.
So we want to call this the quits for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay.
All right,
folks.
Neil, thank
Have a
you.
good evening,
Good night,
everyone.
Good
Nice to see
evening. Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Oops.